Aye.
Good evening, and thank you for coming to our meeting. Please help me open with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May we have the roll call?
Trustee Jesberger,
Present.
Trustee Clark,
Yes.
fiscal officers here, Superintendent of Public Works and Township Administrator,
Here.
Chief of Fire,
Here.
Chief of Police,
Here.
Code Compliance.
Here.
Thank you. Our next meeting is scheduled to be May 20th at this location at 6 p.m. And at this time, I'd like to make a motion to accept the agenda with flexibility.
I just want to add, under committee, 999 chamber formation of buildings.
Just first second it, and then we can get into discussion.
Second, sorry.
Okay, Trustee Clark,
Yes.
Trustee Jesberger,
Yes.
and you were saying you wanted to add something to the agenda? Mr. Clark?
Yes. Under the committee and team reports, possibly forming a 999 Chambers Road formation of a building study work group to determine what we want to do with buildings.
Okay.
All right, we'll add that. But now I would like to pass it over to Archer Energy.
Get the lights.
Great. Good afternoon. Thanks for having us here today. My name is Andy Mitry. I'm the president of Archer Energy. We are a local-based supplier here in Columbus, Ohio. We have close to 300,000 customers, and we're here to talk to you today about aggregations. Archer is one of the larger suppliers of aggregations in the country, in Ohio, I'm sorry, not the country. When you aggregate, you take the community's buying power and then you leverage that to make a better deal for all the residents who don't already have a supplier in place. It's not my expertise on getting this type of process passed through and have it in place for a committee. I am just a supplier. So I asked one of our partners, Aaron Schmerschneider with Trustees Energy, to come in and talk a little bit about the process of putting an aggregation in place and how it works. So I'll kind of turn it over to Aaron and let her talk about how the steps work to get that done.
Sure.
Well, thanks again for having us here this evening. Like Andy said, my name is Aaron Schmerschneider. I'm with a group called Trustees Energy. I'll pull up our presentation here so we can go through it. Thanks for giving me the rundown on how to set this up earlier. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries.
I think I got it all sorted out. Perfect. Okay, great. Like I said, I'm with Trustees Energy. We've been in Ohio for the better part of 15 years. We currently work with 150 communities across the state. We have everything from, small kind of rural 250 household community all the way up through the city of Columbus and everything in between. What that represents is just close to $100 million in savings that we've been able to achieve for all of those communities across the years. Like Andy said, aggregation program, putting something in place so we have buying power for both electric and natural gas programs if you're in a regulated investor-owned utility. And Trustees is the largest independent energy aggregator in the state. So what that means is, unlike some of these public energy councils who kind of represent themselves as more of like a pseudo government, where they really only represent one option, one supplier option. We're actually independent, where we work with companies like Archer, but we also work with many other vetted suppliers, so we're really running a true competitive bidding process for you, and are agnostic into who we are placing the community with. We really just want to make sure that there's best value for everybody. Our process here, since the township does not currently have an aggregation program in place, that would have to go to ballot. So Traybell would coordinate all of that on behalf of the community. We would start with community education, so we could have meetings here, we could do them virtual as well, just to make sure that the community is informed of what they'd be going to ballot for, and making sure that if they have questions, concerns, anything like that, that we have the opportunity to address all of that, so everyone feels like they're making an informed choice when it goes to ballot. If we were to put this on the ballot, it would be for November, and it would need to go to the Board of Elections 90 days prior. So we need to be able to make that decision in August timeframe, just to give you an idea of what that lead time is. We've already missed May, so November would be the most recent opportunity to be able to do that. Granted, the ballot initiative passed, and we do everything that we can, again, from community education. We've had communities, we go knock on doors, we talk to people, really, again, just make sure there's that full engagement so we can have the programs passed for both gas and electric. After that, really comes down to what's the best strategy for the community. The market changes both from a regulatory environment and from a commodity pricing environment. So what makes sense today might not make sense in November, might not make sense next year when the program would become active. So just make sure that we're doing our due diligence and staying on top of the market to put that best plan in place for your residents. Deregulation, and we are happy to get into this as much as you'd like. Really just high-level overview. Ohio, along with many other states throughout the country, allow choice for both electric and natural gas. So aggregation takes advantage of the ability to shop competitively. So then, granted, the program passes, then we would start working with the board here. It's up to the residents to decide, yes, we want to have a program in place, and yes, we go vocalize that by casting our ballot. Once that is passed, then the actual decision of how we move forward with pricing, terms, product structure, all of that, would go to the board. So we would work closely with you to make sure that we're running, like I said, that competitive bid process. I mean, Andy and Archer is great, they're fantastic, they're local, we do a lot with them. But if by chance they are not the best option out there, we have half a dozen suppliers that are vetted, that have our exclusive contract terms that we've put in place to make sure that there's the best protections available for anyone who participates in the program, and then the best terms in place, obviously, for the board itself. The way that it looks like in terms of resident participant day-to-day, they receive a bill just like normal. So if it would be from AEP or Columbia Gas, they still receive their bill, they still make that payment to the utility, so none of that changes. They'll just see that there's a lower commodity price listed on there for the term of the agreement. So none of that from an administrative perspective takes place, or changes. Anyone who wants to participate can participate. Anyone who doesn't does not have to. People can join, they can exit, they can rejoin, and there's no penalties, no type of fee to be able to do that. So completely flexible. Like I said, we've had changing market environments where it might not make sense to participate in the aggregation program for a couple months. You're absolutely free to go back to the utility. And anyone is absolutely able to pick their own choice, their own supplier directly. But aggregation is really put in place as, a safety net and an insurance to say, hey, for those who don't have the time, don't have the access, don't have the knowledge to be able to secure their own program, that there's something that's in place that's going to ensure savings for the bulk of the community. In addition to the ballot support, we maintain all of the regulatory compliance, so we do all the filing with the Public Utility Commission on behalf of the board. We make sure that all the proper paperwork is in place, that it's all filed timely, so that's not another thing that you would have to worry about. As I kind of made a joke earlier, you have 500 other things you're worrying about, you don't need another program to manage, so we do that on your behalf. And then if you have any type of sustainable goals, renewable goals, obviously that is very different community to community. If that is something you're interested in, we can definitely coordinate that. If that's something that comes up in the future, we can certainly add that on. And then when everything is established, it's not, hey, we'll see you next time for renewal. We're constantly monitoring the market. We're making sure that if there's regulatory changes that come into place, that you're made aware of them, how to best prepare for them. We've actually just had some come up for both electric and natural gas over the past several months. And we pivoted with the bulk of our communities to say, hey, this is coming. Here's how you can minimize that. Here's how we best communicate to the residents so no one is taken off guard, and make sure we have that flexibility. I would say, not all of our competitors operate in that same mindset, right, of where, hey, we're still very much engaged. I understand you probably don't want us at every meeting, but we're here, to attend as many as possible to make sure that if there's questions, they're being answered, and make sure that there's no surprises for anyone involved. So happy to answer any questions that there might be. I understand, aggregation is new and has not yet been established, but if there's anything that, the board would like to talk about, anyone in the audience that would like to talk about, I'm happy to address anything while I'm here.
To get it passed, what's the percentage of votes that is needed to get it passed?
So just majority,
Just
right?
majority.
Yep, so it doesn't have to be 2/3 or anything like that, yeah, when it goes to ballot.
On the ballot, are we selecting your company, Archer, or just the ability to aggregate?
So it'd be the ability to aggregate. You would select who you would like to help facilitate. So if that would be, working with Trey Bell, you would enter into an energy management agreement that says, here's all of the things we're going to do for you, inclusive of putting this on the ballot, managing that process with the Board of Elections, et cetera, et cetera. And then when it's on the ballot, it's saying, yes, we're voting for establishing electric aggregation program. A separate line item would be for natural gas.
Okay.
Makes sense to put them both on at the same time, just if you're doing it anyways, yeah.
Right.
All right, thank you all very much. You have my contact information. If there's any other questions that do come up, I'd be happy to answer them anytime.
Sorry, I was also taking notes. So you're going to do, you would do natural gas and electric?
That's correct.
And would those be two separate voting things or all?
There would be two separate ballot initiatives, yep. So there would be a line item on the ballot that said, do you vote for electric aggregation? Then there would be a separate one for natural gas.
And you said folks could opt in or opt out and change their mind throughout the duration of the 2-year or whatever?
Absolutely, yeah. In Ohio, it's an opt-out program. So everyone who is eligible will be mailed. They have a 21-day window to be able to say, no, I don't want to participate. But if they choose to do so later on, they can certainly exit the program without penalty. That initial window is just to say, no, I don't ever originally want to be enrolled in this program. But yeah, you have the ability throughout the entirety of the contract.
And if I've chosen a different supplier, and it was a short-term, 3-month, whatever, or if I chosen a 36-month, what happens to me as an individual if I've already chosen a different supplier?
Sure. So if you've already chosen another supplier, you would not be presented with an opt-out. You would not be mailed. You would not be enrolled in the program. We don't want to disrupt anyone's programs that they've picked on their own board.
Okay.
Right? So we get a list from the utility that shows every eligible customer within Clinton Township, within this footprint. And then we would say, okay, exclude incorporated areas. Perhaps if you have cities you wouldn't want to have included. We filter it out by size, so it's under a certain size for a commercial account, residential, and then anyone who is in a percentage income payment plan, they are not eligible because they're already getting a very attractive subsidized rate. Then we would mail everyone who's left that's eligible. They could opt out of the program, and then, like I said, come in and out as they choose.
Okay.
How would apartment buildings work? Like, would the owner make that decision, or would every tenant who pays that type of bill have the decision?
Sure. So if the tenant is paying their electric bill directly, then they would make that decision. If it is sub-metered through, let's say, like an apartment owner who's then rebilling, the tenant would not have the ability to make that decision. It would be up to the property owner who owns that master meter. Okay.
this was overdue, thanks for explaining some of it.
Certainly, yeah, and like I said, if there's questions that come up after, feel free to reach out and, call, email, I'd be happy to talk through anything.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
all, appreciate it.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you.
I just hit the right button.
The right arrow button. Yes, ma'am.
All right, so the next agenda item is going to be the mission statement and values. So as I had explained a meeting or two ago, in the leadership meetings that I have been having once a month since the beginning of the year, I tasked the group with coming up with some suggestions for mission statements as well as values for the township. Because the township in general did not have a mission statement. However, our fire and police department have mission statements. So what we were doing was we kind of defined what they are, identified keywords, and then with the help of Deborah, who kind of took the lead on the project, developed some of our options that we came up with. So for those who don't know, a mission statement is a statement that defines what a company or agency have something that can help support the township being accountable to the elected officials, to our department heads, and to all of our departments. And values are a set of principles or standards of behavior, judgment of what is important. So people individually have their own values and morals that they probably grew up with, that have been instilled in them, but businesses also have the same thing. So some of the key words that we were able to come up with, resiliency, inclusive, green, services, diversity, customer service, approachable, progressive, community, pride. So to start with our values, we typically people have, or like agencies can have anywhere from like 5 to 10 values. So we try to keep it more on the lower side. So some of them that we came up with were diverse and inclusive, with statements that follow through, which I'll read. We celebrate the richness of our differences, welcoming people of all backgrounds, cultures, beliefs, and identities. Everyone belongs here. Value community pride. We take pride in our shared spaces, local traditions, and the people who make our township vibrant. Together we foster a sense of belonging and mutual respect. Value 3, exceptional customer service. Whether it is a friendly hello or a helping hand, we serve our residents and visitors with professionalism, compassion, and a can-do attitude. Value number 4, friendly and neighborly. Kindness is our culture. We believe in looking out for one another and treating every interaction with warmth and care. And the 5th value, sustainable living. We are committed to preserving our natural resources, supporting local initiatives, and making environmentally responsible choices for generations to come. So looking at this, is there anything that should not be up there? Is there anything that really stands out that definitely needs to be up there for the township? Or what is the general idea that people feel?
I think this is a more than great start. My only edit would be exceptional service and taking out the word customer. There's pros and cons to that. I know we also do customer service as well. But just And that really kind of almost makes you think of first responders, like they're doing a service, obviously, but just our neighbors are kind of stuck with us. It's not really a customer service relationship. That's my only edit. The rest of this looks really nice.
Okay.
And I'm not married to that. There may be reasons to keep customer in there.
What else? What do you guys think? Do you like it?
I love it.
And it obviously would not look like this. This was just a brainstorm presentation that I found, because this would not look very government-y. But I just want to make sure, you know, like, I know I'm putting you two on the spot, but you've lived in the township for an incredibly long time. And this is your home. This is where your pride is. This is your community. And I think it's important that the values are what our residents feel are important. And if someone were to ask you right now, you know, like, tell me what are some of, you know, your favorite things about this township? It could be, you know, like, one thing I always tell people is one of my favorite things about the township is just how diverse we are with different cultures because of where we're located. And so that's something that weighs a lot with me, and that's something that I value in my own life. And as well as community pride. Like, I am a trustee in this township, but I also live in this township, and this is my community. And so anything that's going to make this community stronger and hold people in upper positions in more, like, accountable ways and responsible ways, I'm all for that as well. Is there any particular value that you think is missing? That's good? Okay. All right. And so Deborah was able to take some of the words that we identified as being some of the important words that we wanted to be visible in our mission statement, and she came up with 2 really good statements. So the first one, our mission is to serve our community with unwavering resiliency, delivering responsive and reliable services while fostering an approachable environment where every resident feels heard, valued, and supported. We are committed to building a township that adapts, grows, and thrives together. And then the other option, our mission is to deliver exceptional service through approachable and responsive teams built on a foundation of trust, integrity, and resiliency. We are committed to creating positive experiences, adapting the challenges with strength and flexibility, and always putting our residents at the heart of everything we do. I also spelled integrity wrong. I just realized that. My bad. So these do not have to be final. Like, if we like things from both statements, we can ask Deborah to make it, like, to kind of take it apart and put it into like one statement. I will say on the second one, where it says on the 4th line, and responsive teams, I would probably change that to departments, because we have our fire department, our police department, our public works department, code enforcement, and zoning.
We don't always give positive experiences in our department.
That's true.
We do try.
Yeah.
So
Strive.
is that something we want to?
Someone's got to be the boat anchor.
So what do you mean?
When
Where it
somebody-
says we are committed to creating positive experiences.
Yes.
So if I'm drunk driving and they need to come arrest me, they don't have an obligation to make it a positive experience for me. They're just keeping the township
That's only
safe.
one person, but you're pausing for everybody else.
After I sober up, I'll say that was a positive
Arrest them with
experience.
dignity instead of, yeah, whatever.
Maybe I'm wrong, okay.
I understand where you're coming from. I
Right.
don't know the answer to it right now.
We get a copy of this that you can mark up. Thanks.
I did not have Dave or Deborah print these off because I thought that it was a waste of paper and printing.
Let me invent environmental.
So what I can do is if people want it, I can just email it up.
That's good.
Yeah, this is more than a good start.
Oh, suggestions or questions?
Too late.
So
Good
so
job in
far,
pulling that together for us to start the discussion. Thank you.
You're welcome.
so far, we feel we're on the right track.
Yes.
And we're narrowing it down to, because you don't want a mission statement to be wordy, because people lose focus after the first 7 words. And so it's more just getting directly to the point on what we provide and what we want people, when they think of Clinton Township, instead of just always being, grouped in with Linden, which we are, we are North Linden. We are our own township. We are not the city. And so I think it's important that we really embrace our township, and this is how we just continue to improve and we grow from this. And we know exactly what we need to be doing, because when we wake up every day, we have our mission and our values that we are trying to fulfill on a daily basis. So from here, would we like to take these 2 statements and piece them together to come up with one statement from both of those?
Yeah,
Yes?
Yeah.
edit it down.
Okay. So I can email it out. If you would like to email back with suggestions. And if you can also look at the values, I would just suggest that we have no more than 10, because that is a lot. And so we just initially started with 5. But I would probably say 5 to 10 would be good. So if there's any that you really think of that we need to include, I would just ask that you include it, and then see if you can come up with a simple statement that we would put next to it when we would put it out for the public to see. Sound good?
Is the thought to present this to residents and get feedback, or just come up with it and,
Typically, a mission statement would be within the organization.
okay. That's good.
And Jess, I can send the rest of those ideas for the values too as examples, as for brainstorming, if people want to kind of get other ideas to incorporate some other ones if they want.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. All right, moving on. All right, so I'm next again. So Light Ohio Blue 2025 is now upon us. It will be May 7th through the 17th. And this is a statewide campaign to honor law enforcement officers who have died in the line of duty, as well as an opportunity to show support to those currently serving who protect our communities throughout our great state. It is strongly encouraged to change the exterior light bulb of your home to blue to show support. And we, of course, have our very own police department who we support as well. And so we just want to make sure that we are honoring Light Ohio Blue, as well as all the other hundreds of law enforcement agencies around the state. So I don't remember this being a week and a half long. Usually it's about a week. So I'm not sure if something changed this year, but it does start tomorrow. And you can find light bulbs, the blue ones, at any like hardware stores or Amazon. That's where I got mine. So let's light Ohio blue for our police officers. All right, the next thing, that's gonna be me again. All right, so May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So NAMI, which stands for the National Alliance on Mental Health, mental illness. So their campaign for this year is in every story there's strength. So where your story has power, share it and help inspire hope. So from their website, I wrote this down because I like this exact quote. It says, "Every challenge you've faced has shaped you into who you are today. By embracing and sharing your experiences, you empower others to do the same. Together, we create a movement of courage, healing, and connection." So we are living in very trying times, and for some reason, things continue to get more difficult than they need to be. So a single smile, a simple hello, how are you, can really change someone's day in a good way. And I would manage to say that every person in this room has either personally experienced mental health issues, or they know of someone who has experienced mental health issues. And just know that you are never alone. There is always help. And so the suicide hotline, 988. And you are also more than welcome to reach out to the township, to police and fire. They have resources as well, and they can direct you in the correct way. There is no weakness in asking for help. I tell my children all the time that it's okay to not be okay. You just don't want to sit in those uncomfortable feelings alone and isolate, because you want to surround yourself with people who love and support you. So if you need help, please reach out. You're also more than welcome to get a hold of me. I don't mind at all. So this is what I do for my full-time job as a licensed social worker. So I know plenty of people, I can point you in the right direction. There's no reason to be mean to people. Everyone is fighting battles that a lot of people don't know about. So, okay, on to public comments. Do we have any public comments?
So this is new for you all. Usually we wait till the end, but we're trying to give a chance. If you want to stay till later and share thoughts, you can, but we move the public comments up further up on the agenda. So, we'll talk about speed bumps now or later. No pressure, no pressure. You still hate the speed bumps. He didn't hear me. You can tell him later.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. On to the fiscal officer.
Motion to approve the bills.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Clark,
Yes.
Trustee Jesperger.
Yes.
Motion to approve payroll.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Clark,
Yes.
Trustee Jesperger.
Yes.
And I finished my grad program, so I should stay on top of meeting minutes moving forward. While we're all having weekends free again.
These mics definitely work today.
They do. The battery's been on the whole time. It's great.
Okay. All right, thank you. On to committee, I'm sorry. Just all for you know.
Yeah.
On to committee and team reports. Chief Fraley with chat.
So for April 25th free produce market, we had approximately 9,000 pounds of food that was distributed to 548 individuals. Our next senior resource fair will be May 20th, starting at 10 a.m. here at this location. We'll be posting flyers shortly. That's all we have.
Is that called the senior what?
Senior resource fair?
And the health clinic.
Yes.
And the senior health fair will be from 10 a.m. to noon.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Beautification work group.
We're in a holding pattern right now. We're pushed out the before pictures. So we're in that period right now where I'll be making another post to get more people signing up for it. And traditionally, everybody likes to wait till the last minute, so fear not. I'm confident that we'll probably have a
Waiting
lot
for
of the...
spring to show up.
Yeah, right. A lot of the same individuals as we had last year. I'm hoping we're reaching out to them as well.
Okay. Budget work group.
Okay, we're gonna have a meeting next Wednesday at 3 o'clock here at 3820 Cleveland. Public is encouraged to attend to give feedback. All the departments got a deadline of last Friday to turn their budgets in, so the FO's office is prepping those to be able to distribute and have them ready for our meeting next week.
Perfect, thank you. So an update for the health insurance work group. So the department heads and I met with our, is she a broker? Okay. And our insurance had come back with an increase of 11%. And after talking with the department heads and our broker, we counter offered 5%. And they came back with 7%. So that's really good compared to recent years that we've had. Did I forget anything?
No, I mean, we still have until July to get this approved to do this. So the board now knows what the percentage is right now, if we want to counter offer back or not. I think 7% is pretty good. Maybe at the next meeting, we can vote to accept that 7%.
Is that staying with Medical Mutual?
That is staying with Medical Mutual. That's not going out to form fire or anything like that. If we go on open market, that's what all employees have to update that form fire.
And pop quiz for us, just to make sure we're putting at least 7% increase into our health insurance lines going to next year. It seems basic, but these things happen quickly, so.
Correct.
Looks good, Bill.
Anyone else have anything about health insurance? Okay. Our trustee, Clark?
For this proposed work group, I'd like to maybe take 3 to 6 months to survey residents on the building other than this building. So like 999, the playground facilities, decide the residents get feedback from them as far as maybe things they would want. When we decide on 999, to keep putting money into it to bring up the code, bring it up to meeting space requirements, or we just decide to sell it and maybe take that money and then use that to remodel maybe some of the parks, the blockhouse at University View. Maybe expand that a little bit, bring it up to like electrical. Right now we use it and there's extension cord running everywhere. So whatever's got to be done. But maybe of a more of a meeting space at that playground. If we do sell 999, maybe we could create a space big enough that people could hold events and we could eventually maybe hold the meetings over there too. It's just, and then Dave, you know where we are on our building use policy? I know Rebecca was working on getting that finalized, but it looked like,
Yeah, I believe she wanted to get something presented to the board at this meeting. I would say it's probably going to be at the next meeting now, since she had some family issues and she could not attend.
And either way, we're working on a building use policy, even if 999 didn't exist. I mean, obviously it does exist, but we're working on one for this facility. Sorry to steal some of your thunder, but just at our last meeting, when I was like, pay for anything you want to do, because stuff keeps going up in price. What we want to do is really a big question mark. I was kind of surprised to hear it doesn't seem hopeful to turn it into a first responder station in the next decade, because that would take at least $1 million. It's great we have a West Side officer. He uses that space for a desk and a bathroom. So it's a big question mark, and the idea of doing a work group, not going on forever, but a 3 to 6 month window, is to just try to give the board more of a spectrum of what we're doing. Because I feel like we're just kind of shooting from the hip, and it's pretty expensive to have a building hardly used. And I was explaining to you, you're inheriting some lack of maintenance that didn't happen over the years. It's not a nightmare, but there's just things that need to be caught up. So I honestly, and I'm not the decision maker, but I have no idea how to advise you if it's a good idea to keep that building or not. My hunch is if we do keep it, that we might need support from another organization because it's expensive to have an asset, and that's just complicated. It's a not big parking lot. So I really like the idea of it being a joint training district, if we could sometimes have first responders there, but none of this is easy to figure out, and I'm also hoping with the Jet Z consultant, I know he's mainly business procurement, but if we could ask him, I think his name's Patrick, just his opinion of this asset, because if we were to sell it, I would love for us to sell it in a way that doesn't get annexed and could be like encouraging businesses. So that's a lot of thoughts, none of them are bad, but it would just take too much time in these meetings to kind of help forecast out which direction the township would like to go. Personally, I would love to keep it, but I don't know if that's financially smart. So we thought Mr. Clark could head that up just because he's been a firefighter and doesn't have a day job. So
doesn't have a job.
or doesn't have a job.
She's always willing to add. Well, he doesn't work anyway.
The other two have full-time day jobs, so yeah, that's all.
I don't mind.
That's just the idea.
Anything to support our values, our mission statement. Thank you.
Ready for it? For the administration, I have the first item is leadership team retreat. We've been talking about this for a little while. Last meeting we talked about with Waypoint doing a training for 10 of our main employees that we have here, the higher up employees and elected officials. We kind of set for the end of May to do this. One member can't make it on the 31st, so we're going to send probably back out the little doodle things that Sean sent out to try to come up with a new date for that. We'll probably have maybe June 14th. If not, it'll probably be sometime in July. And since it's a weekend, we'll utilize our facility here. Anything else you want to add to it, Jess? Okay. So So hopefully by next meeting, we can have maybe a hard date on when we're gonna have that training. I know they're gonna send out an invoice for half of it. That way we can go ahead and do the Clifton strengths and have that part of it done. The next I have request a motion to approve the new rate and authorize the township administrator to sign the commitment to continue membership with OTARMA for our casualty and building insurance.
So moved.
Second?
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Jessberger?
Yes.
Just before this gets away from us, as we do the working group about looking at 999, it would be fun for me to just ask OTARMA how much we would save if we didn't have that asset. Again, I don't like the idea of selling assets, but our OTARMA premiums are going up a bit as everybody's insurance across the land is going up. So that'll be something we put in that brain pan, is considering if we should keep it or not.
Okay, the next item I got, just a reminder, I'll be out of the office starting tomorrow afternoon, going to a stormwater conference. Then there's one other item I have under flexibility. I had Jamie Gentry, the new Jed Z consulting firm. He's been looking at some of the properties and stuff that we can do around the township to generate some more funds through the Jed Z. And he was looking at the Chesapeake Avenue area. And I know the board has discussed this before, we should do something to maybe enhance that area over there. So he asked me to reach out to Franklin County engineers to kind of assist with a landscape, their streetscaping design. So Mike Andraco is going to move forward on that. This would be something that would connect University View across all the streets, sidewalks, and it would go through the county also, so there'd be a joint operation between municipalities. Just I want to let the board know that they are working on that, or would start working on that. And that's all I have.
And then, I forgot to ask you this afternoon, but is there a plan to cover the phones in the front office
When Cassidy goes on maternity leave, yeah, we have been working with Mike, the police chief, and we got several options.
Okay. So that the lobby as well as the phones will be covered?
Correct.
Okay.
We got a plan B, plan A, plan C, so we'll cover it the best we can.
Got it.
Chief Fraley?
I just have an announcement that our next free health clinic in partnership with OSU will be May 22nd, here at 3820 Cleveland Avenue from 6 to 8 p.m.
Great, thank you. Chief Jones?
Thank you. First announcement I have is the police department received final certification from the Ohio Collaborative Law Enforcement Agency certification for new standards over the last year. And just to give a shout out to Assistant Chief McCoy back there and the supervisors for getting that certification complete and done. So we have all of our certifications and they're in different levels, different series, and we just completed the 7th series that gets us to the top of that list. So thank you, gentlemen, for doing what you do. Also, an announcement that the police department received for the 5th year in a row the top gold recognition from Lexipol for excellence in law enforcement policy management and practices. For the last 5 years, we've managed that top tier award. So again, Assistant Chief McCoy making sure that daily training bulletins go out, and he's on people if they don't get them done, including myself. So, good job. Next item I have is requesting a purchase order for strategic sourcing in the amount of $12,625. This is for replacement of GTAC tablets. Those are the MDTs and 3 of our older cruisers. from Fund 1,760,740.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Jasperger?
Yes.
Next, I'd like to request to amend appropriations in line 2081-760-750 with unappropriated funds in an amount of $25,493.
So moved.
Second.
And just to clarify, you're adding that amount of money, right, to that line?
Yes, Melissa said it's the unappropriated funds to put into that fund item,
Yeah.
and that covers the cost of the new cruiser from the insurance. Yeah.
Thanks. Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Jasperger?
Yes.
Next, I'd like to request a purchase order to Coughlin Cars, the amount of $25,439. And it's for a cruiser to replace the car 209 that was totaled in a recent crash from Fund 2081-760-750. And it's trading in the code compliance Tesla to offset that difference.
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Jasperger?
Yes.
We're halfway through.
That's record time for appropriating spending, but getting it done.
Next, I'd like to request a purchase order to Park Public Safety in an amount of $16,976.93 for equipment for that cruiser from Fund 2081-210-420.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Jasperger?
Yes.
Next, I'd like to request a purchase order to RTS Tactical in an amount of $9,053.92 for body armor from Fund 2081-210-430.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Jasperger?
Yes.
I'd like to also request a purchase order to Advances Law Enforcement in an amount of $1,349.86 for body armor from Fund 2081-210-430.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Jasperger?
Yes.
So the last two purchase orders we got approved. The police department received a grant from the state of Ohio, Bureau of Workers' Comp, and they are paying 75% of that grant. So once we order these vests and we have a receipt from purchasing the vest, the state pays us back 75% of those funds. So for roughly $11,000, we're only paying about $3,000 to get our officers new bulletproof vests. We have to replace those every 5 years. Next thing I would just like to say, we'd like to request funds to provide food for Operation Unity. This event is May 13th for multiple law enforcement agencies that will be participating.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Jasperger?
Yes.
And I know second meeting's usually the meeting where we have our monthly reports, but just to kind of give an update to the public, we've had, in Northern Light Shopping Center around Sunoco and the liquor store there, we've had a couple serious incidents over the last few weeks, 2 shootings, a homicide, so it's been a little taxing, especially with the amount of officers that we have, so we've been getting a lot of support from the sheriff's office. Their detectives have been doing a great job out here working those cases, so just kind of keep that in mind. Knock on wood, we're not always making the news, as some folks know. Some of these things aren't making the news, but they are occurring out here. So just be vigilant to your surroundings. We're going to be working on that with Operation Unity around the shopping centers and other places in the township to kind of target that criminal element and keep it moving on down the road. So that's all I have.
Stay inside.
Thank you. Public Works?
Oh, let me get that here. Oh, you wanted me?
Oh, I'll do it.
Cody's, I was passing it to Cody, he's nice.
Who wants to do this?
Okay, I'll do the Public Works part of this. Wanted to do an update on the Case Road Stormwater Improvement Project. Let know that Franklin County would like to present at our next board meeting some new information concerning that job. It's not on our end, this is on Columbus's end. Since we're going to be tearing up the side of the road and getting in near their water lines, they're going to replace all the water lines for the homeowners during this same time. They will pay for their portion of it. I think it's got to do with some lead abatement process. So that's good for the residents. Normally, if it goes bad, they have to pay for that. So Columbus is gonna eat the cost on that to change all that out. And they're gonna do an informational presentation at our next meeting. And this is just for Case Road Mini. We're within this project, so it's not everybody at this point.
Dave, would they be doing direct mail to the Case Road residents?
I would assume the city of Columbus is going to address that, to let all the residents know that, hey, this activity will be going. It's set to go out for bid this month, the project, and they're anticipating this to be completed by the end of the year.
Wow.
So it's going to happen pretty fast. Any questions on that?
They aren't anticipating us paying more, even though the job's kind of bigger than they thought. We'll find out.
It's a little bigger than what they started out, and they cut it in 3 sections, 3 phases. And the current grant is going to be able to cover 2 phases, but it's going to be a little bit lower than what they anticipated. They fell short about $300,000. Instead of the township just coming up with that $300,000, we'll go a little bit lower, take care of the 2 phases, then we can reapply for an OPWC grant to take care of the other phase another time. The other phase is going to tie in at a different spot on Ferris Road, so it'd be better to wait until after they do the Ferris Road improvements, because they got to move some infrastructure there. So they're it's good that they broke it up this way, so we're not interfering with that project until it's completed.
Is our FCE liaison going to also be shepherding that project as well?
Oh, yeah, they will, yeah. Yeah, that's what their in-kind is. They're valued, I think, about $85,000 for inspections and designs and stuff like that for this project. Franklin County's gonna handle that.
Tony?
Who knows who it'll be? Any more questions on that? Next, I want to discuss a storm sewer maintenance program. This is something that we should have been doing years ago, is maintain our storm sewers within the township. So I'd like to set aside at least $15,000 a year to contract with the county to help maintain or clean and maintenance sections of roads, the storm sewers. If it's a small project or something like that, they come out and do it for free. They work with us, we work with them on different things. If they need some assistance, we assist with them. So I'd like to do sections of roads, so it's a little bit bigger, a little more in detail. It might be a day or 2 or maybe a week doing something. I know we have an issue on one street right now that all the drains are covered, and they need to be addressed in coordination with what they're doing on Cleveland Avenue, because we may have to tie into that what they have now that's exposed. So I'd like to reach out to and get that project done here before too long.
So a quick question about that. When I was listening to you and Cody talk earlier, or I guess last week, about the one road where the drains were like completely covered with debris.
Correct.
At what point is the business who may have done that type of work for the home, are they held accountable for that debris? Because I feel like most places, like if you get a roof redone, like they take the safety precautions to lay something down so you don't have roof nails everywhere and just get like a ton of flat tires.
I think a lot of this has probably been yard debris, maybe limestone from a driveway gets in these drains. A lot of it's leaves and stuff like that. Through the years, instead of getting regular leaves, they just move
Shove
it
it down the
to,
drain.
move it to the drain. Correct.
It disappears.
What I want to make sure is that I know there's been some upgrades for down Wolford, street, that drain was connected in. The other one comes out to Cleveland Avenue, it appears to me that's where it comes out. When they when they put the new system in along Cleveland Avenue, it doesn't come out there, they didn't find it. So that's where I like to flush that out and see if it does come out to Cleveland Avenue, then it can be tied in. It may just be where it's been broke years ago, and it's just backed up and plugged up now. I don't know whether it's been by a contractor doing work that's caused all this. Unless it was a contractor that was putting the storm drain in on another street and neglected to tie this in. That has happened.
Is this the one by Melrose?
This is on Lamont Avenue between Cleveland and Walford.
So then you would be looking to add a fund.
We already have a fund, and
Okay.
it carries about 50,000 in it every year. But with the Case Road, there's a storm sewer improvement. There is a loan connected to that, so it's going to tackle about all that funds maybe. So I just want to make sure that we have an extra $15,000 in there annually, and I'll put it I already got it in the budget for next year, so we know about this one here. We're not going to spend that 50,000 this year, so we'll use that funds to work with the county to get them drains opened up and see what we have.
So my question's gonna be kind of basic, and this is more curiosity. Is it like sending a snake down the tube? Like that's what I do when I have a little clog, or is this on an industrial level?
They have a $500,000 vac truck
Yeah.
that it's a power washer with the hose that goes down the drains, and it has a vac also that sucks the materials out. We had one that was clogged last week on Sale Avenue, and it took about 2 hours to get it unclogged. And while they did it, they cleaned it, flushed it out the whole length.
I think we've just been spot doing this when there's a real
Correct.
bad backup. I remember the previous super was like, I fixed it, which is great. So it's more than great that you're trying to get ahead of future clogs, or you're aware that there's just been a lack of doing this more thoroughly or something.
You know, some of the former guys were using the leaf vac to suck out the catch bases and stuff. The problem is that when you pick up the rocks, it goes through the fan, goes through, and in some cases we had to weld up the back of the steel panel because it almost made it through the box and into the back of the truck. So that was kind of dangerous that you could have something hit that wrong and end up imploding the leafer.
Well, it sounds like we'll let the people who have the right equipment do their job well, and we'll just need to,
And the county do it as a minimal charge for us.
yeah, that's better than messing with the lever.
So just let you guys know about that. The next thing that I don't have on there, but I got an estimate for painting here at 3820 Cleveland Avenue, painting all the hallways, the lobby, the restrooms, patching all the drywall issues that we have throughout the hallways, and redoing the sheriff's station in the back of the building. They come in at $14,546. And that's putting on a very high quality paint that will be washable. It should not mar up like these flat paint. If the board's okay with that, I would request a motion for that. If not, I can get some more estimates before the next meeting.
So I'm not familiar with like this type of estimate, but I feel like that seems really high for paint.
I'll do it for 10.
It's a good
You
price.
know, you won't, when you look at the pricing, I haven't jumped into this, but.
So like when you say like redoing the sheriff's office, what do you mean?
Where they dug into the walls with the chairs and stuff, that they're going, of course, they got to patch that, then they're going to put a board up there, a 5-foot board, to make sure that doesn't happen anymore. they're gonna put a chair rail out here in the lobby where the chairs rub. So they're gonna put a poplar board and stain it and make it like the floor collar, so it ties in there.
And so they would also do a chair rail in the sheriff's office?
They're actually on 2 walls, they're gonna actually put a 5-foot, something like the hard surface against the wall, so it's not digging into the drywall. There's actually gonna be a countertop-like material.
Is this potentially something that we can work out with the county? That they
Well,
can give
we
us,
don't
that
have
they
a
can give
maintenance
us more
agreement, it's just kind of,
dispatching calls?
yeah, it's kind of the part of the rent, I mean, they are paying a pretty good penny for the rent there. But we've also talked to the supervisors.
But they're causing damage to our building.
From the chair, when they get up from the desk, if you go back there and look at it, there's not a lot of them.
I mean, either way, maybe you're talking about doing a once a year, like inspection of how this rental thing is going. Might not be crazy.
And the flat paint that's on these walls is
Yeah, we're,
too difficult to clean. It just
7 years since we
can't clean
opened,
flat paint.
Yeah.
and this paint, we've tried to get the scuffs off of it, it goes to the drywall.
Like I said, I can reach out and get a couple more quotes before the next meeting. I just got this last night, so I thought at least.
It is upsetting how
Let the board
expensive
know
this
where
stuff
we're at.
is, there's no way around it.
I would feel more comfortable if we had like 2 more quotes.
Okay.
But I'm also not, like I said, I'm not really familiar with how this, like the pricing works and,
Yeah, he said it'd probably be about 2 weeks time frame with 4 people. And the paint, I think, is anywhere like $70 to $90 a gallon.
Yeah, it's upsetting.
The most of it's paint really.
Yeah.
Well,
It's the big
Paint
deal.
has gone up.
Yeah. Like I spent thousands painting my fence last year, it was very upsetting.
But they're open in the first part of June to do this, so if I get some other quotes together by the next meeting, then we can still do it. That's all I have.
code.
I submitted a report for May, even though I know we're not through the month of May. I will be attending the next meeting, and this is my basic one I use, and I'll have some updates. The main reason I wanted to present tonight is that there are 2 properties that we've been dealing with for about 14 months. One of them is over on Walford, across from Veterans Park. The property there, the owner has failed to do anything to take care of the code compliance violations, and recently county engineering went over and found that the house was uninhabitable and has requested that it be boarded up. It had been broken into several times, although that individual owns it has not reported it to the police department. But that one's coming up to go to court, which would be an injunction hearing. And then our other problem properties down in Elmore and Dresden, they're due in court tomorrow. And Judge Mingo has told them if they are failing to take any action, they're looking at $200 a day fines until they clean up all the violations that they have there. And to start with, you're looking at 17 vehicles that need to be removed off the property, as well as some other issues. So I will have the follow-up for what happens with that court appearance at the next meeting. But I wanted to share that with you now so that you know that some of these particularly bad problem properties, we are making inroads into them finally by getting them into municipal court.
Will you be attending?
I will not. I have been asked to testify to the one on Walford. I haven't heard back from the prosecutor yet, but I told her I'd be happy to attend because she and I both had a conversation with the property owner about doing something, and I told her if you need me to come and testify, I'd be happy to do so. And that's all I have.
Great, thank you. Community affairs?
May 7th, Battle of the Badges, blood drive. Everybody got their appointment from 10 to 4. Otherwise, it's walk-in only, so we're really hoping that we can get a lot of participation so that we can kick butt and take take names, because we are competing against other departments, and it's fire against police.
Blue against red.
So make sure that you come in and get your jab, the good jab. And donate blood for a good cause.
And there's
You could be
$20
saving
gift
somebody's
cards.
life.
There's what?
$20 gift
There's
cards.
a $20 gift card involved, so we're,
And a registration to enter a vacation run.
oh, I didn't know that. Was that an
You've
add-on?
been out, that was an ad.
Okay, I'll get with you tomorrow on it, because I am gonna do a major push on it again tomorrow. We've had it
Are
on the
there
LEDs.
Are there appointment times still available?
There is, all the information's on the flyer, but you can walk in. They assured me that walk-ins are welcome.
Well, I thought you just said the walk-ins weren't allowed. They are?
No,
They
They
are.
are.
Okay.
Yep, they are.
I misread.
I
Yep.
think it had the big Dracula out front.
But if you, to avoid any, situation where you might have to wait, you can do an appointment.
Joel's dressed up in a Dracula outfit, is that what you said?
No, I was wondering if the bus would be out front, like, that's usually what would attract me when I'm
I was
not
just-
planning, and I just see
That was
the
a
reclamation
blessing.
bus, I would be more likely to participate.
Yeah, and I don't know if we could use the event banner for that or not, or if that's appropriate for the blood drive, to use that event banner, community event banner flag that we got.
Sure.
So, we'll do that. And then, I'll need the Samsung speaker, because I'll be out front doing karaoke. Okay. Kidding, just seeing if anybody's paying attention. So, also May 20th, Senior Health Fair, Chief Fraley talked about that. We have all the information on all the upcoming events on social media and on our website, and also putting it on the LED sign accordingly. Wanted to circle back around with flexibility real quick to touch base on some of our top gold recognition awards from police. If you can give me some of that information, I can also put out a little blurb and shine some spotlights on how awesome the police department is on social media with the actual plaque, and maybe even have assistant chief or chief hold the plaque and take all kinds of pictures. Who knows? I have a vision going on. So also the Light Ohio Blue kind of snuck up on us fast this year. So are we going to be doing any law enforcement participation in that with respect to the actual
Is it
caravan?
Tonight or tomorrow night?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow night's
So-
the actual caravan with the cruiser, Sergeant Burst participating in that. That'll be all around Central Ohio, the Children's Hospital.
So that's tomorrow night.
Tomorrow evening, and then the National Police Weekend starts on the 11th. It coincides with the blue light that Trustee Jesper was talking about.
Okay, so we'll just want to get some pictures from Burr as well, and I'll start pushing that information out tomorrow. And real quick, something that came to mind, not really in my wheelhouse, but I thought about it for some reason during the meeting. We talked about again with flexibility, at one of our meetings, last meeting, I think, about the telephone emergency phone at 999. Has there been any movement?
It's still in progress.
Okay, so I just wanted to bring that as a friendly reminder, that's all. Because I know that, okay, well, I'll get with my big idea later with what the OSU does. And I think that's it.
Well, this makes me think of, when is National Night Out?
August 5th. August 5th.
First Tuesday in August.
First Tuesday in August, okay. Summer is here, people.
Yeah.
And this is gonna be bigger and better.
Sweet.
Flying animals.
I'm writing that down. Get arrested in style.
Do we have any appreciations?
And a quick appreciation, if I may. Oh, Fraley, Chief Fraley, you want to go first?
I was just gonna say thanks to everyone that assisted with retired Chief Fisher's funeral last week. The family was very appreciative. And again, police department was there, our guys were there, Trustee Jesper was there, and it was a very good service. So
I just wanted to give special appreciation and recognition to the board for allowing me to carry over the comp time because it was much needed during this past week, and also for everyone that's showed up and supported me through the very challenging week. So I appreciate everybody for all the support and not having to stress about one more thing this past week.
I would like to share appreciation for our police department and our fire department. The last month has been what seems like full of very traumatic emergency responses. And I check on all of our staff as much as I can, but it's really hard to not worry about them and the things that they see. And so I just think it's important to show that appreciation. You know, whether you're working a 24-hour shift or you're working an 8-hour shift, the things that first responders are a part of is not normal for people to see. And the fact that they still are ready to serve our residents, or City of Columbus residents, with no hesitation after just getting done with a really traumatic call, just takes a lot of vulnerability and being brave. And I very much appreciate everything that they do in the community that they serve. Any other appreciations? Okay. At this time, I would like to make a motion to enter into an executive session per ORC 121.22G1 to consider the appointment, employment, discipline, or compensation of public employees.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Desberger?
Yes.
And we'll print up a good amount of purchase orders and checks so if we can get autographs on